and welcome back to Mai's Reviews, a blog and podcast where I review all types of movies and novels. Now today, I meant to record this video weeks and weeks ago so that I'd have an actual schedule, but I move into college today, hence the no makeup and the hoodie that I never wear. All of my clothes are packed. I literally leave in a few hours. But I meant to record this weeks ago when Deadpool and Wolverine came out and I went and saw the movie. I've actually seen it twice in theaters now. Today, I am going to be ranking all of the X-Men movies. And hopefully this is out at a decent time. I'm hoping by this Friday. Or on Friday. So we will see. But let's get into it. Now, there are 14 movies in the X-Men franchise, and so I'm just going to go through, starting at the lowest out of the 14. So, number 14 for me would be The New Mutants. Now, I feel like this is pretty general for everybody. I feel like it didn't really get a good response. And I think part of that is just you don't have very memorable characters. The plot just... it was very difficult to watch for me, and I love all the rest of the X-Men movies. I love, right? And so it's also, my dog is in the room, so she's sitting in the corner just staring at me. So if you hear anything, that's Poppy. But all of the X-Men movies, right, my grandpa showed them to me and my sister as we were growing up, and then after my grandpa passed away, I went and I binge watched all of the MCU and all of the X-Men movies with my grandma. So I do love these movies, and they hold a special place in my heart, so I was super excited for Deadpool and Wolverine. I went to see it with my sister first, and then we took my dad and my mom. My mom, she had never seen Deadpool or Deadpool 2, so that was definitely an interesting experience having her watch it, but my dad loved it, so... But yeah, definitely New Mutants at 14. I would probably rate The New Mutants a 1 out of 5 stars. Now, number 13, again, another movie I feel like most people don't like from X-Men, just because it's the weakest of all of them, and especially the original trilogy. At number 13, I have X-Men: The Last Stand. This movie is just not as memorable for me as the other ones. There are some cool action sequences, and, you obviously have the beloved characters throughout the movie, but I don't know, it's just not one of my personal favorites. I would rate X-Men: The Last Stand about 2 out of 5 stars. It's not horrible, and I'll still watch it. I still like to watch the movie, but objectively, it's not that good of a film. So, at number 12, we have Dark Phoenix, and I love the movies with Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy. I love First Class, love Days of Future Past, Apocalypse. Dark Phoenix is an iffy one for me just because what they do with Mystique's character and Jean's character, I don't know. And Charles's character. A lot of the choices they made, I was like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know how I feel about that. So at 12 would be Dark Phoenix with, I'd say, probably 2.5 out of 5 stars. It's not a bad movie per se, but it's not one that I reach for. Although Jessica Chastain as the alien villain was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. At number 11, we have Deadpool 2. I rated this one about 3 out of 5 stars. I just feel like, I love the Deadpool movies, but I do think I got really annoyed with some of the scenes and the dialogue, and especially some of the characters were just very annoying to me in this movie. But I've watched it, I think I watched it twice in like 2 days, because my dad just happened to put it on, and I was like, I'll watch it. So, it's not like I won't watch the movie, but it's not my favorite, you know? At number 10, we have The Wolverine with 3 out of 5 stars. Again, just another one of those movies where it's not very, like, I know what happens, right? I've watched it a few times, but it's not very memorable. Like the other movies, I can tell you what happens, start to finish, every scene. But The Wolverine is just not, especially when you have, and this is maybe an unpopular opinion, but especially when you compare it to Origins, I kind of like Origins better. So, what they do with Deadpool's character in that movie is not my favorite per se, but I do like that movie more than I like The Wolverine. At number 9, I have X-Men Apocalypse. So, number 9 and up are kind of, I gravitate between all these movies, and my ratings sometimes change and the order would sometimes change. It depends on the day, really, and what movie I want to watch at the moment, because I do think a lot of the X-Men films are actually really great, very underrated. But at number 9, I have X-Men Apocalypse with probably a 3.5 out of 5, I think is fair. It's not my favorite out of First Class or Days of Future Past and Apocalypse, but I do think it is a good movie. Oh my gosh, what they do with Quicksilver and Magneto is just not, it upsets me to this day. I need closure on that. And dude, Eric can never catch a break. I mean, Logan and Eric's characters, I feel like, never, ever are allowed to be happy in the X-Men films, and it's devastating. And every single time I watch First Class or Days of Future Past or Apocalypse, I just sit there and I go, wow, I would also destroy the human race if I was him. Like, yes, does he make bad choices? But I am a Magneto defender till I die. That man has had so much happen to him. None of it good. It's terrible. I mean, anyways. But yeah, X-Men Apocalypse at number 9. At number 8, okay, number 8 and number 7 are very interchangeable. Currently at 8, I have X-Men 2, and then at number 7, I have X-Men Origins Wolverine. Probably a very unpopular opinion, but I actually think Origins is a really good movie. I think it's very underrated. Obviously, what they do with Deadpool is not the best, but we do have Victor in there, and we see more of Logan's backstory, which I do think is important. Now, if you ask me to explain the timeline to you, I can kind of tell you, but do I know exactly where Origins falls? Not really. The X-Men timeline is a bit convoluted, but I still like it. So, but yeah, so at 8, let's say I have X-Men number 2, with a 3.5 out of 5. You know, I love this movie, but I don't know. It's not my favorite out of all of the X-Men movies. And so then at number 7, I have X-Men Origins Wolverine, also 3.5 out of 5. And I kind of flip between the two because I like both movies, but it depends. I don't know. It really depends on the mood that I'm in and the vibe of the movie I want to go for. So, but at number 6, we have the original X-Men movie. I love this movie so much. I mean, is it a little bit cheesy? Yeah, but it's a superhero movie. Like, what do you want, you know? So, a 4 out of 5 for this one seems fair, and it being my number 6, I'm okay with. Now, at 5, we have Deadpool, with a 4.5 out of 5. I love this movie. I just think it's, I mean, obviously funny. It's good. I don't know what else to say besides I like it, and I think it's a good film. But then at 4, we have Deadpool and Wolverine. I was very surprised with that movie because it could go, right, obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, maybe skip ahead to my ranking of number 3. But obviously, they did very, very well with including a lot of cameos and references to things like Elektra and Blade and the Fantastic Four movies, which I also love. So that was really cool. But, you know, I think it was a good integration of X-Men into the MCU. Obviously, we had a little bit of that with Multiverse of Madness, but, I mean, did we? You know? Not the Fox movies. We just kind of had like a new version of, also ignore Poppy, but we kind of had a new version of the X-Men in Multiverse of Madness. So, I don't know. But I definitely think Deadpool and Wolverine is my number 4. Also probably recency bias, but I do think it is a good film. And I think it did really well not being like a cash grab or kind of dismissing the Fox movies, because obviously people love those movies for good reason. So I think they did a good job with that. And I have seen it twice in theaters. I really enjoy it. I mean, the music, fantastic. Fantastic. You put Madonna in there, I'm in. So yeah, probably a 4.5 out of 5. And again, that can kind of be interchanged with Deadpool. Probably will be, but recency bias. So let's get into my top 3. Some of them I feel like are a little bit controversial. I feel like kind of the same thing with Star Wars, where people obviously hated on the prequels, still kind of hate the prequels. I personally, besides Phantom Menace, love the prequels. Attack of the Clones, don't come at me. It's actually one of my favorite movies. Is that because they did Obi-Wan so good with that hair? Maybe. Okay. But you can't even hate on the prequels, especially the soundtrack. Hello. Revenge of the Sith. Hello. Like, I don't know. I think the early X-Men movies and the later X-Men movies kind of get the same treatment, where people kind of hate on First Class and Days of Future Past and Apocalypse, even though it's, I don't know, they're not bad movies. People just prefer the older ones, which is fair, fine, you know. But I love the newer ones. I actually really like First Class. But my number 3 would have to be Days of Future Past. I gave this a 5 out of 5, but I'm personally just biased. I love this movie. I think it does really good. Kind of how Deadpool and Wolverine is good at integrating X-Men into the MCU. I do think Days of Future Past did well at combining the old cast with the new cast. So, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Also, it's set in the 70s for part of it. How can you hate on that, you know? But my number 2 might be controversial. People might hate. X-Men First Class. I remember watching this movie and loving it. I have it on DVD. I love this movie so much. I think it's one of the better ones. I just really like it personally. I mean, I am always entertained when I watch it. If I'm watching one of the X-Men movies, I typically go for First Class or Days of Future Past or X-Men. Those are the ones I kind of gravitate towards, just because I think they're well done and they're easy to enjoy and they're not slow, right? It's very easy to get into them, and also they just hold a special place in my heart. Also, Jennifer Lawrence as Raven, hello. Ever since Deadpool and Wolverine came out, I have gotten so many edits of Charles and Eric on my For You page because obviously people and the actors shipped them, okay? I'm not saying, I don't know. I think it could work. I see it. I understand, but I get those and it's devastating. Like, damn, you put this to Mitski and I'm gonna cry. Thank you. So, thank you to Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman for making Deadpool and Wolverine, and Sean Levy. It's great. Now I get to cry when I open my phone. So, but, I don't know. I just think X-Men First Class is very, very underrated. So, might be I don't know. I feel like some people, it's one of those movies where you either really like it or you hate it, I don't know. I think, again, it kind of gets the Phantom Menace treatment, which I'm not saying Phantom Menace is my favorite Star Wars movie by any means. But I will say, I do think people kind of get used to and they get stingy about their original movies. And, obviously, I've never read the comics, so I can't be mad about this character wasn't comic accurate, and I understand how people can be upset about that, obviously. But just as an enjoyer of the movies, I really like First Class, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 because I'm biased like that. And then obviously at number 1, how could I not put this in number 1? Logan. I avoided this movie for so long because, I knew it was sad. I knew what happened, kind of. But it was devastating to watch. Well, okay, for backstory, my grandpa who loved the X-Men movies and the MCU, right? I remember sitting there watching the Avengers with him and him loving Hawkeye. So I really liked these movies, and he had cancer, I think around 2017 through 2018, 2019, but he had Lewy body dementia as well. But originally we thought it was Alzheimer's. We didn't know it was Lewy body dementia till around when he passed in 2020, I believe. And so watching Logan and Charles having Alzheimer's, obviously for me, was very reminiscent of what my grandpa went through, and my grandma caring for him and my mom caring for him. So watching that, it broke me a little bit. Actually, it was, I've never cried during a movie like that, except maybe The Notebook, and that I didn't expect to cry during. So, I just think that movie felt very personal for me, and it's obviously so well done. Daphne Keane was phenomenal. So that one is obviously a 5 out of 5, and on Letterboxd has a heart, 100%. Like I said, just one of the best X-Men films, hands down. So I feel like giving that any less. Can you imagine I put First Class first and then Logan second? I think I'd have people showing up to my house to change my mind or burn my house down. But I definitely Logan, number 1. Hands down. 5 out of 5. No complaints. Cried. Devastating. What else can I say about it? But yeah, that is my ranking of all of the X-Men films. Obviously, there's the Deadpool Christmas thing, but I don't, does that count? I don't know. But that is my ranking of the 14 X-Men films. Hopefully we get some new ones in the future. I honestly kind of hope they bring back the cast like they did for Deadpool and Wolverine. I think it'd be really cool kind of to get closure for some of the things, especially in like Apocalypse that never get solved. Specifically, Evan Peters and Michael Fassbender. Bring them back. I need closure, personally, and I know some other people do too. Okay, so anyways, but that is my ranking of the X-Men films. I'm hoping in the near future, depending on how loud or quiet my dorm is, I can record some more videos, hopefully at least once a month. Otherwise, I'll try to do a every other week type thing. We'll see. I mean, it's college. Who knows? I'm a little scared, but I mean, it's pre-med too. So like, I don't know how much time I will have, but I have my own room, so hopefully can record, but depends on how thin the walls are. So, and with that, that's the end of my ranking of all the X-Men films. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please check out my blog, Maya's Reviews, at mayagreviews.wordpress.com. You can also find me at Maya the Bookworm on Twitter, Goodreads, BookBub, Book Sirens, and TikTok. I'm also on Tumblr at Maya's Reviews, Instagram at Maya Grimley or ML Grimley, depends on my personal and my blog specific one. I post more on my personal, obviously. But also don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get notified whenever I post new videos, whenever that's going to be. If you want me to review your book or movie or anything publicity related, I do ask that you check out my publicity request page first on Maya's Reviews and then reach out to me. That way you have any information I might need already in that email. My email is mayagbookreviews@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and go watch the X-Men movies. Refresh your memory of them because they're great, especially First Class and Logan and Days of Future Past. Go watch them. Bye!